What if I told you that the simple sprinkle of cinnamon on your morning toast once decided the fate of empires? That wars were fought, oceans were crossed, and entire civilizations rose and fell not for gold or land, but for flavor. For thousands of years, spices have been far more than ingredients. They were symbols of power, faith, and desire. A pinch of pepper was once worth a man's life. A handful of cloves could buy a ship. Today, we take them for granted, the dust of the ancient world sitting quietly on our kitchen shelves. But long before supermarkets and spice racks, these mysterious powders carried the scent of adventure, greed, and even death. So buckle up, because this isn't just the story of food. This is the secret history of the spices that built our world. Chapter 1. The taste that changed the world. Long before the pyramids were raised, the world already knew the power of flavor. In ancient Mesopotamia and Egypt, traders carried small sacks of pepper and cinnamon like treasure. These weren't just for cooking. They were offerings to the gods, tools of medicine, and keys to immortality. Egyptian priests burned frankincense and myrrh to please the divine, while pharaohs were buried with exotic spices imported from faraway lands. Archaeologists found traces of cinnamon in the tomb of Ramesses II, even though cinnamon didn't grow anywhere near Egypt. Where did it come from? No one knew. To protect their trade, Arab merchants invented myths. They claimed cinnamon was harvested from nests built high by giant birds, guarded by serpents and demons. It worked. Buyers didn't question it. They just paid more. And thus, a myth became a market and a flavor became a currency. From the jungles of India and the islands of Indonesia to the deserts of Arabia, the world's first trade networks were born not from necessity, but from desire. Humanity's hunger for taste became the first step toward globalization. Chapter 2. Gold, God, and Peppercorns. By the time the Romans ruled the Mediterranean, spices had become a luxury obsession. Black pepper, imported from India, was called black gold. Roman senators demanded it at every feast, and the streets of Rome smelled like cardamom, cloves, and saffron. Pliny the Elder, a Roman historian, complained bitterly that Rome was draining its treasury for Indian luxuries. There flows annually to India, he wrote, 50 million sesterces, all for the sake of women's perfumes and men's sauces. But even as Rome feasted, few understood where their pepper came from. The route was long, perilous, and shrouded in secrecy. From the Malabar coast of India, ships braved monsoon winds, sailing through Arabian ports to the Red Sea, and from there, across desert caravans, to reach Roman markets. This invisible thread of trade was the world's first global economy. And as it stretched, it tied together empires, merchants, and pirates in a single fragrant web. When Rome fell, Europe's access to the East was cut off. For centuries, the spices of India, Sri Lanka, and Indonesia disappeared behind Islamic and Asian trade monopolies. But the craving never faded. In dark medieval kitchens, kings and popes longed for pepper, cinnamon, and cloves. To taste the East was to taste paradise itself. And so began a new age, when flavor would drive the greatest voyages of discovery the world had ever seen. Chapter 3. The Roads of Fire and Fragrance. The Silk Road, the Spice Route, two arteries that pulsed with the lifeblood of human civilization. Caravans moved across deserts, their loads perfumed with nutmeg and cardamom. Ships sailed from India to China, from Arabia to Africa. Along these routes, not only goods but ideas traveled: mathematics, medicine, religion. Every spice was a messenger of civilization. But these routes were not for the faint of heart. Pirates stalked the seas. Bandits haunted the sands. Many never made it home. Still, the lure was irresistible. A single cargo of cloves from the Banda Islands could make a man richer than a king. By the 15th century, when the Venetians and Arab merchants controlled the spice flow into Europe, prices soared beyond imagination. And in the royal courts of Portugal and Spain, explorers whispered of a dream: to find a direct sea route to the spice lands, bypassing the middlemen entirely. In 1498, Vasco da Gama sailed around the Cape of Good Hope and reached India. When he returned to Portugal, His ships carried cargoes of pepper and cinnamon worth 60 times the cost of the journey. The world would never be the same. Chapter 4. Blood and Cinnamon. The age of exploration quickly became the age of exploitation. The European powers, Portugal, Spain, the Netherlands, and England, fought bitterly to control the spice trade. They carved up the Indian Ocean like a map of treasure. In the Moluccas, the fabled spice islands of Indonesia, nutmeg and cloves grew nowhere else on earth. Whoever controlled these islands controlled the world's spice wealth. The Portuguese built forts, the Dutch sent war fleets, and soon paradise turned red. Thousands of islanders were slaughtered or enslaved in the name of cinnamon and clove. What began as a search for flavor became one of history's darkest economic wars. Spices that once symbolized divine creation now fueled human destruction. Yet, through the blood and fire, a new world was being born. European empires rose on the back of spice profits, financing colonies, trade networks, and industrial revolutions. Cinnamon and nutmeg became the quiet architects of modern history. Chapter 5. Beyond flavor, rituals, magic, and medicine. But the story of spice isn't just written in blood and gold. Long before it became a commodity, spice was spirit. In India, Ayurvedic healers blended turmeric and cardamom for health and balance. In China, ancient texts recorded cinnamon as a medicine for vitality and warmth. In Egypt, priests used myrrh to preserve the bodies of kings, believing it guided their souls to eternity. Even in medieval Europe, apothecaries treated spices as sacred. They weren't just flavor, they were power. Saffron dyed the robes of monks and kings. Clove oil protected against the plague. Pepper was offered to the gods. To every culture, spice was more than taste. It was transformation. It could heal, it could bless, it could bridge the mortal and the divine. And somewhere along the way, we forgot that. Chapter 6. The legacy that still burns. Today, the spice trade is worth billions. Supermarkets and cargo ships have replaced caravans and dhows. Yet the legacy remains. When you sip coffee laced with cinnamon, or eat a curry rich with turmeric and pepper, you're tasting the echoes of history. The sweat of sailors, the dreams of explorers, the prayers of priests. Every grain of spice is a relic of human ambition. The same drive that built our cities, crossed our oceans, and connected our world. Without spices, there might have been no global trade, no European empires, no discovery of the Americas. Our craving for flavor didn't just season our food. It shaped civilization itself. The flavor of the unknown. But here's the mystery no one can quite explain. Why did humans risk everything for flavor? Why did a taste, something fleeting, intangible, move us to change the world? Maybe spices were never just about taste. Maybe, deep down, they were our way of reaching for something more, a hint of the divine hidden in the dust of the earth. So next time you open your spice jar and breathe in that scent of cinnamon or clove, remember that what you're holding isn't just food. It's history, it's magic, and perhaps it's a secret still waiting to be uncovered. Because somewhere, in a forgotten jungle or beneath an ancient ruin, the true story of spice may still be unfolding.